When your stock is collapsing, what better to have happen to you than a theme park go on strike? Well, that's what the Walt Disney Company is facing as Disneyland cast members now voting to approve a strike, and it could happen as soon as Tuesday night. We'll give you the details and whether or not the most magical place on earth will keep making magic. Hello folks, welcome back to the Pro Channel, where we endeavor to explain entertainment, keep you ahead of the culture curve, and by golly, we enjoy doing it. We've got Vash Sky, the man behind T3PO, and the co-host of That Park Place joining us. Welcome back, sir.
Happy to be back, talking about a very serious issue affecting, well, the Disneyland area, and maybe have a greater impact on the community at large. This one is a big one, folks.
That's right, folks. Make sure you click the like button. And there is no other news, of course, going on. It's a slow news day today on this Monday. And that means, due to the mundanity of all, you are here to find out about Disney because, man, oh man, there's just nothing else going on. You know what? We're happy to have you, folks. Maybe this is a break in the Joe Biden, Kamala Harris coverage that you need. And, well, it may actually have something to do with the presidential election. We'll explain why in just a moment. Take a look at this Disney stock, though. $95.74. That's where we stand as of the beginning of the bell. Now, we can't tell you what it's going to be at the moment you're watching this video because we can't predict when you're watching. But $95.74 is where it's at. If we go to the 5-year, folks, take a look at this. These in the middle, we've said it before, we'll say it again because so many of you are brand new as this channel continues to grow. This, when it looks good, that's the Bob Chapek years. That's when a different man was in control of Disney. These lines ahead of that, well, that's Bob Iger. These lines behind there, in front of it, that's Bob Iger as well. All you need to know is when things were swell, that was Chapek, and when it's not, that's Iger, and here we are going back down. $95.74. That is where we are right now. The price is right. The price is not right, Bob. Sorry about that. And don't know how this is going to impact the stock, but it can't be good. Los Angeles Times covering this one. Disneyland workers vote overwhelmingly to authorize strike. The overwhelmingly is something to pay attention to, and you can take a look at the signs that they're holding there. You'll notice, by the way, folks, this pink Marxist fist and a Mickey glove. That is the icon they're using, a Marxist symbol. Now, I don't think most of the cast members probably know that that is a Marxist symbol, but that's what they're using. Christy Karras, or Karras, not sure, is the author here for the LA Times. Disneyland employees have voted overwhelmingly in favor of authorizing a strike, paving the way for what could be the first major work stoppage the Anaheim theme park has seen in 40 years. Members of the Master Services Council, woo, that sounds like the Wizarding World, an alliance of unions representing custodians, ride operators, candy makers, merchandise clerks, and other Disneyland employees. Look at this, folks. On Friday, voted 99% in support of a walkout. Let me just say the name again. Vash, did you know the name of this? Members of the Master Services Council. It's amazing.
Mm-hmm. I have heard of it. And apparently this is the assemblage of 4 separate unions voting in this, which represent about 14,000 cast members. For the Disneyland Resort right now, it's anywhere between 28,000 to 32,000, top end of 35,000 cast members who actually work at the Disneyland Resort. So 14,000, that's as much as 40 to 50% of all of the cast members being represented by these 4 unions. And like you said, of those who voted, 99% voted in favor of strike.
All right, well, let's get to what the implications are going to be in just a moment. Here's the statement out of the Master Services Council, where Gandalf was surely seated. We stood up and showed Disney that we won't sit by and allow them to intimidate, surveil, and unlawfully discipline cast members for exercising their rights. A strike is always a last resort, and we have committed to return to the bargaining table Monday and Tuesday, prepared to bargain in good faith. Implicit in that statement, Vash, seems to me that Disney's got Monday and Tuesday, and then these folks are ready to shut down the resort. Now, Disney says that they're not going to be shut down, that even if these people go on strike, that with half their cast, they'll continue to run Disneyland. But that seems to me to be sort of a nothing burger statement. The resort itself is made up of hotels, 2 theme parks, and a retail district. As long as they keep the retail district open and the garage is available, technically it's open. So I don't think that's much of a statement at all. Vash, before we get into the details of why they're going on strike, what are the implications if they do go on strike on Wednesday? What happens to Disneyland?
Disneyland will have severe operations problems from this because obviously if you 14,000, like I said, 40 to 50% of your cast members just walking out. It's not, you can't just fill those roles on a dime. Now, I have heard that Disney management, Team Disney Anaheim, is considering utilizing cast members from Downtown Disney and California Adventure, actually, to fill those roles, since the California Adventure unions, their contract doesn't come up for renewal until September. Now, these unions have been in negotiation with Disney since April. And so now we're getting to a point here where I'm guessing the two sides aren't necessarily moving on their positions, and this is why we're faced with this dilemma today. So I would say if this does pop off within the next week or so, severe operational limitations on the Disneyland Resort. Don't expect all your favorite attractions to be available. Don't expect all your shops and so forth to be available either. And this is at a crucial time right now because August has a whole host of attractions already on the list for refurbishment. I mean, the Disneyland Railroad, Space Mountain, obviously the Splash Mountain is being converted to Tiana's by Adventure, the Hungry Bear restaurant next door, the Haunted Mansion, all that stuff is going down in August already. Now to have even further capacity restrictions, it's going to bring the resort to its knees, I think.
All right, so let's talk leverage. The union has all the leverage. Sorry, Disney has none. I guess, salaries matter. That's some leverage. So if Disney's not paying people, that's some leverage. But take that away, strip that away. Disney's got no leverage, and here's why. And this is the kind of analysis, folks, that you're not going to hear other places. So that's what we're doing right here, right now. Vash, the cast members have all the leverage because Disney's got an earnings call coming up August 6th. And by the way, folks, tune in to Valiant Renegade that morning when they do the earnings call, and then the pro show will be right after that. But Disney's not got a good stock price. We just showed that. It's on the downswing. Don't know what it's going to do. No financial advice. That's where it is. And they've got an earnings call coming up. The dealio is, the closer you get to the earnings call with this strike potentially underway, the more it's going to hurt the earnings call. Disney Parks and Experiences, something like 50% of Disney's overall profits. 1/3 of that, so 1/3 of all Disney's profits comes from Disney World. But in second place is Disneyland. The international parks bring in almost nothing in comparison to those two. So Disneyland is not some small chunk of import when it comes to the Disney company. And so these unions know that if they push this into the earnings call, then it would be damaging to Disney. Already we have seen a board member step down. There's no scandal in that. But when the board member stepped down, Disney reduced the board seats, which is odd and strange, and might lead some to think that perhaps Disney is preparing to gird itself and defend itself from another attempt from a proxy war, maybe Nelson Peltz returning, maybe Elon Musk, maybe a hostile takeover attempt. But it seems like Iger is getting very, very defensive, and so these unions probably know that very well. All right, Vash, let's get into what they want. Tell us, please, and understand as we go into this, that much of this problem stems from the fact that Disneyland Resort exists in Southern California. And the California economy and the California politics are such that Disney struggles to pay these people enough for them to live in the vicinity of Disneyland while still keeping operations low enough that Disney can profit. That's the way it is. That's the way it's going to be for the foreseeable future. Vash, what do they want? What can Disney give them for them not to strike?
Yes, so slight correction on that. August 7th is going to be your earnings call. I just want to make sure we know
August 7th, folks. August 7th. Apologies on that.
No, you're good. You're good. Fair wages is going to be the number one here, followed by a fair attendance policy, seniority increases, and safe parks and cast members for guests. We'll start with seniority increases because this is very interesting. Less emphasis was placed on long-term cast members, it sounds like. particularly from some interviews that we've heard from whistleblowers and insiders within Disney. And usually it's affecting Burbank, but apparently some of that mentality has found its way inside of Disneyland. And so people who have been with the company for a long time want to be recognized. That's a little bit what's going on there. The fair attendance policy is very interesting because back in 2020, I believe it was right around the summer of 2022, Disneyland announced that they were changing their attendance policy from a very flexible point-based system to now a very strict hours-based system. I believe they were only giving about 16 hours for people who are full-time. I think it goes 12 hours for people who are casual regular in their terminology, and then casual temporary 6 hours. So it was a very, very strict tightening of that system because people were, well, frankly, abusing it. There were people who were going on maybe like 50, 60 times without showing up to work, but they still couldn't be fired under Disney's former system. They had to tighten up on those because they were in a desperate, mad rush to get as much labor as possible. Some of the people who they hired in order to fill those roles as quickly as they could, well, let's just say they didn't have, let's say, the same Disney value set as the cast members before. So the labor market had changed in substantial ways, and that's why they altered their system. At the unions, they pushed back a little bit, but they just basically folded over. And so Disney cast members haven't been necessarily all that thrilled about that system. So they're looking to get an alteration to that, because you got to think, they want a very flexible system out there in California because a lot of people have second jobs in order to pay for rent. A lot of people go to school concurrently while working at Disney, so they want to enjoy those flexibility options as well. Pay is going to be one of the biggest ones, obviously, from Disney's perspective. They've been looking to reduce capital expenditures for years now when it comes to the parks, and, well, the cost of living out in Southern California has just gotten higher and higher and higher. And you got to think about this, Pro. Think about being in Southern California, attempting to get a job anywhere you can. And in April of this year, California announced that employees of fast food restaurants were to get paid $20 an hour minimum. Now, at Disneyland, I believe it was revealed at the city of Anaheim meeting that recently took place in order to pass Disneyland forward. It was revealed at that city council meeting that Disneyland's starting wages were in the $19 range. Well, think about it. If I can get paid at a higher rate at some fast food company with a much simpler job than being at Disney, where you have to deal with, as many as 60,000 guests per day, and it takes you about 2 hours. Bro, if you go there by car to your shift at Disney Resort, it takes you on average 2 hours to get to your post. And then 2 hours back, and you're not paid for that transportation to and fro. Those aren't hours that you accrue. So think about it. I can get paid more working at some hotel in the nearby area or at a fast food place. Why would I work at Disney? So I think Disney has a lot of things to worry about this time around because, well, the labor market has changed. And frankly, everybody's looking to get theirs because we just saw the writers, directors, and the actors' strikes in Hollywood in that same area
right.
get a bunch of things their way. The IATSE contract just was negotiated. They got theirs.
They got everything. Yeah, right. Everything.
And man, you better know that people have family. There's connection there. People are looking to get theirs as well. When it comes to strike time, Pro, here's the thing: the earnings call is one thing, but I think right next door to the Disneyland Resort, literally across the street, is the Anaheim Convention Center. And one event might be taking place in that Anaheim Convention Center relatively soon.
What do you got, Vash? What's going in the Anaheim Convention Center?
The Ultimate Disney Fan Event, the D23 Expo, kicks off August 9th and runs to, I believe, the 11th. So that's going to be right next door to Disneyland. If I was striking or protesting or demonstrating, that is a perfect venue to get international media attention.
Wow. Well, if that's the case, this is going to be stretched out longer than Disney would ever desire to have happen. In regards to the fast food thing, I'm just going to say this. So, California is a mess. We don't want to get political, but there has truly been an exodus of population, and California is one of the places that has seen losses of population. The fast food situation is such that, and just think about the insanity of this, regulating that just fast food places are going to have this minimum wage separate from other places that'll have a different minimum wage. That's how Disneyland has a lesser minimum wage than fast food places. And so the fast food joints are reducing their employees. So that's how they're handling it. They're reducing their employees, they're automating more, or they're shuttering their fast food restaurants. So the people at Disneyland can try to quit and go to a fast food place, and they might be successful, but many won't, because those jobs are being cut to make up for the fact that you can't sell a Big Mac for under $10 while you're paying people $20 to make the Big Mac. You get the idea. Now, the Disneyland thing is not limited, though, to pay and some of these other particulars that are involved in it. The Disneyland cast member union is also claiming that this is safety. Their cast members are in danger, Vash. They're in danger. And that's why they're raising that Marxist Mickey fist. So tell us, what is this thing about their safety? What do we got?
This was a very interesting one because I had not really heard about that many grievances over safety with these unions before. Now, I have heard a couple of issues or horror stories connected to the entertainment cast members who just voted to unionize, but they represent an entirely different mix of cast members, particularly the ones that meet and greet.
I've heard they're afraid of burning dragons, Vash. They're terrified now of burning animatronics, murdering them in sleep.
Well, that is terrifying, Pro, I must say. But we have heard stories about unsafe working conditions for characters in costume. There was a particular incident in which a gal playing Mantis from Guardians of the Galaxy, she was forced to wear obviously some contacts that may have dyed her eyes gray from them, just all kinds of stuff. So it kind of made sense from the union standpoint for the entertainment cast members that, okay, this is how they're overcoming these issues. Now, when it comes to
permanently damaging your eyeballs, that's up there with, okay. I'm on the side of the people who don't want their eyeballs damaged. Consider me a fan.
And there are some old facilities, that probably need to be updated. A lot of the facilities back of house at Disneyland proper, they're dating back to the 50s. So it's like, okay, I can kind of understand that. The higher pay thing, that's going to be a little bit more of a stretch when it comes to the company. We have seen that they're, like I said, they've been looking to reduce expenditures anywhere they possibly can. So it's like, are they just going to cut roles? It sounds like they might. We've already seen them cut entertainment as part of those other unions. So when it comes to these 14,000 cast members, obviously they can't cut as much, but I think they will incur some cuts if they in fact come to an agreement that is particularly in their favor. So it's a trouble spot for sure. Like I said, though, the safety for park cast members, I'm still trying to get a little bit more data and information on that. I don't know if it's
Let me explain it, Vash. And I told you this before the video, so you know where I'm going to go with this. But if I'm going to go on strike and I want to get paid more, that's a decent ask. And I might get some fans of that request in the media and in the public, and I need the public to like me because, they can't go ride the Matterhorn, so they might be mad at me. So what's a better way to get the public around Anaheim really in my favor? Oh, wait a minute. I can say I'm in danger, and Disney is refusing to protect me. They won't get the security we need. And oh, by the way, all these other things we want, that's great too, and it's a full package. You give us all of it, but it's security. My life is at risk. And I'm not trying to diminish. There are probably some legitimate concerns here, but I think that if I were a union in a theoretical world, I would definitely want the public to think that I'm at risk for my, livelihood and also for my life, because the for my life thing will get a lot of people on board saying, yeah, we'll support you. How dare you, Disney? That's, folks, it's just me speculating about the strategy. No harm, no. Now, I'm not trying to diminish the claims in any way. I'm just game planning the strategy out. Vash, that sound good to you? You think that's right?
I think that's that could be a thing, because honestly, whatever they're arguing in terms of safety, I guess they've been a problem for a while. I've not seen any enhanced issues regarding safety. That's both for guest and cast. So I don't know. I think
I saw Mickey shooting himself with pyro out of his fingers after Phantasmic reopened. You see that?
That's a fair point. But that's
maybe we need flame retardant, flame retardant costumes on all the cast members after all this.
Well, that's not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. I will say there's one last thing we got to get to.
Tell me,
to make this story complete. Back in 2021, during involving these same unions,
you got to set it up right, Vash. You got to listen. You got to get into the theater of this thing. Okay, you're a professional YouTuber now. You got to say a long, long time ago, back in 2021. Okay, now you go. Now you go.
A long, long time ago, back in 2021, these same unions were up to the negotiation table and were looking to obviously renegotiate terms as part of their contract for that period, leading up to 2024, obviously. Well, right before that contract was ratified, it was put to a vote to the cast members, and only barely, and I mean barely, won. And a lot of cast members at the time noted that there were voting, let's say, irregularities at the time that they weren't necessarily thrilled about. But, c'est la vie, it did pass. This time, though, for anybody who remembers that instant back in 2021, they might be playing even harder ball this time, knowing the particular vote history of this whole thing.
Vash, you've taught us a lot, and you've taught us that you know French. I always knew you had that savoir-faire. All right, folks.
Oui, oui.
That's the story on the Disney strike. Disneyland in danger of being closed down, at least parts of it. Who knows? Maybe they will divert all cast members off of California Adventure to Disneyland, but you're going to have to train some folks. And if you're training folks on how to go from the rides at Disneyland from California Adventure to Disneyland, then you're in it for the long haul. So we'll see how this plays out. There is also, and we promised this at the top of the video, there's also the issue of an election year. And there is little doubt that the politicians around SoCal do not want Disneyland so closed that it's hurting their re-election chances or causing them drama. And given the peculiarities and strangeness of this election cycle, well, anything's possible when it comes to certain politicians saying, hey, Disney, give them whatever they want. We need this thing open. We cannot have another stinker with the economy. And frankly, that's probably why the IATSE situation went the way it did, of politicians saying, we can't be on strike. It's an election year. The economy must be as good as it possibly can be. Folks, if you want content that is as good as it possibly can be covering the parks, well, your go-to place is That Park Place, the YouTube channel, as well as thatparkplace.com, the website. But Vash is running T3PO. It's at That Pod Place, and it's fantastic content you cannot miss. Make sure to go over there and subscribe. Also, folks, don't forget that the Pro Show is live tomorrow at noon Eastern. We cannot wait to have you. We've got some great guests and great panelists, and we'll be bringing the pain to everybody out there who wants to tell mistruths, because we are here to keep you ahead of the culture curve. And truth is what we do. All right, folks, switch from being passive to active in your viewing. Go ahead and click the like button, share, subscribe, click it, stick it to the algorithms. It is the notification bell. Drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. And folks, we will see you very soon. 3 videos every day, and that means 2 more are on your way. See you then. In the meantime, keep learning, keep growing, and keep having fun.
Floral, it's time for you to walk the plank.
What? Why?
Because you haven't subscribed to WDW Pro yet. Nor bookmark thatparkplace.com on your web browser to get great articles from great contributors.
What?